I literally felt giddy. Like I felt like a little kid at Christmas. It was very silly, but I want to be cozy today. Like I just want it to be fall, and so I'm drinking hot tea. I wanted to wear my sweaters. Like I'm just trying to make fall happen. Hello, my name is Bonnie and this is my channel, A Knitter Obsessed. This is my YouTube channel where I talk about all things knitting going on in my life. Right now there's a lot of knitting going on in my life, so I'm very excited to be here with you. I do want to give a quick disclaimer. Usually I have my phone hooked up to my computer, and so that way my computer lets me kind of see what I'm showing you guys and make sure it's in focus. And for some reason today, and I've been trying to troubleshoot this for a while, but there's like a super bad lag between the two of them. So I'm gonna do my best, but there's a slight chance that things might be out of focus. And if that's the case, when I'm going through and editing this, I will take some B-roll footage or some pictures, and I will make sure to supplement anything that needs to be supplemented along the way. So just please be patient and we'll work through this, and then I'll hopefully get this fixed up better for the next episode. Before I get too far into it, I did just want to mention what I'm wearing, which I'm so proud of myself. I always forget to mention what I'm wearing, but I remembered this time. So this is my Knus Light by Elsebeth Judith. This is knit with Miss Babs Avon, I believe, which is a 2-ply fingering weight yarn. It's a blend of merino and silk. And this is in the colorway Calypso, which I believe was a limited run. I'm not sure. I don't think this is one of her like repeatable colorways. So I love it. It's a super duper bright blue. It's perfect for the summer. I was really trying to justify wearing one of my like sweaters for this video just because I spent all morning watching knitting plans videos from other YouTubers, or fall knitting plans videos from other YouTubers, and I just, in my heart, wanted to wear like a fall piece, and I was sitting here in a mohair sweater just sweating, and I was like, I can't do it. I gotta go back to a summer knit. It's still too hot here. That's okay, it's coming. We had a day that was actually like 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and it was actively chilly in the mornings before the sun came out, and I literally felt giddy. Like I felt like a little kid at Christmas. It was very silly, but I'm not really a summer person, so I'm very much looking forward to the weather change. But that being said, it's been about 3 weeks since my last podcast update. So I've had quite a lot of knitting time in that time, as well as a couple of fairly major life changes that are going to impact my knitting. So I'd be happy to talk to you guys about them. And so because of that, I have 2 finished objects, and then 3 brand new whips that have never been seen on the channel before. So I'm excited to go through those. And let's see, there are still quite a few whips I'm not going to mention in this episode that have been on the channel before, but I really haven't touched them. I've had some pretty major cast-on-itis the last couple of weeks. And so yeah, I've just wanted to knit new things. All I want to do, I still want to cast on more things, and I'm like actively stopping myself. So we will get there. I gotta work through some of these first. But anyways, let's get into the finished objects. So first finished object, you've already seen half of it in another podcast episode, but I finished my other sock. So these are the first ever socks that I have ever made. And these are the I'm So Basic socks by Summer Lee of Summer Lee Designs. And this is a really great pattern. It's a free pattern, and it walks you through everything you need to know to knit a pair of vanilla socks using magic loop. And it comes with a series of video tutorials as well, which are excellent, and I highly, highly recommend them. That's what I used. It made things like the heel just, you know, super straightforward and easy. I watched her video for, you know, grafting the toes together, and it came out really, really nice. So I highly, highly recommend this pattern. I highly recommend those videos along with it. It made it a piece of cake. And yeah, these are the first socks I've ever knit. So I'm saying that as a total newbie. I had no problem following along with any of it. I knit the size large, which is a 72-inch or a 72 stitch sock, which I did based off of my foot measurements. However, I do think the next time I knit socks, I will go with the size medium, which is the 64 count sock. Just, these are not too big, like, they're not like baggy, but they aren't really negative ease either. They're like almost the exact shape of, or the exact size of my foot, and I just feel like they're gonna stretch out quite a bit. And I'd like them to be a little snugger so that they're easier to get into like shoes and boots and stuff like that. I do have all the ends woven in, but these are not blocked. I kind of forgot about these. I finished these right before I left for flock and just sort of like tossed them in a basket because I didn't have time to deal with them then. And, you know, moved on and forgot about it and all the flock excitement. And then it was like last night when I was like, oh my gosh, I never finished the, like finish the socks. And so I wove in the ends on them this morning, and I'm going to dunk them in a bath right after I finish recording this. And so I'm hoping that through the power, you know, the magic of editing, that I will be able to put up some pictures of some freshly blocked socks throughout this whole, you know, segment. So that's the plan. For yarn, these were knit entirely in Knit Picks Stroll. So the main color is Stroll hand painted in the colorway Supernova. The orange details is Stroll tonal, and I believe, I'm forgetting what the name of the colorway is. I want to say it's Guppy, but I'm not sure. And then same with the blue. I'm not totally positive what the colorway is. I'll put them up here, and I'll link all of the colorways and stuff down below in the description as well. The reason I don't really know is because I bought these as part of a mini set, and the skeins didn't come with the colorways on them. So I've had to do some kind of researching, just going through the Knit Picks website. But it's, yeah, I just sort of had to guess, or yeah, which colorway it actually was. So I'm not totally positive, but I'll put my best guesses in the description for you. I enjoyed the way I did these, where they have the sort of offset colorways. I think that's a lot of fun. And I used about 60 grams of the 100-gram ball for the main color, which I believe means I could probably get another pair of maybe like shorty socks out of this same ball of yarn, which is pretty exciting. I feel like that's very good value. And yeah, I really loved knitting these. I plan to knit more socks. I have at least 2 more pairs of socks planned for this year that I already have the yarn for, that I'm very excited for. So yeah, first ever pair of socks. I'm calling it a success. So with that, I'll go on to my next finished object. So this, I talked a little bit about this in my last episode, which was my flock recap. But I didn't go over the pattern in very much detail, so I'll go over it now. But this is the Ilana Camisole by Masha Ziablikova. Masha Ziablikova, sorry. Just trying to read my notes really quick. This was the shirt that I knit specifically to wear to flock. This is just a basic, you know, sleeveless cami. It's knit in Knitting for Olive Merino in the color Plum Clay, held single on, what size needles did I use? Oh, these are US 4 needles. So I don't know what a US 4 needle is in millimeters. I apologize. I'm trying to learn those, but it's not sticking in my brain. But yeah, this is knit on US 4 needles. This was knit on my only set of wooden circular needles, as opposed to my usual ChowGoo interchangeables, just because I, for some reason, don't have 4 US 4 tips in my ChowGoo interchangeables. I do now. I remedied it. And yeah, I knit this in the course of a week and a half in preparation to wear to flock, because I started it 2 weeks before flock and then sort of panicked knit it the whole way through. I think this is a beautiful pattern. It has these really lovely little like 1-stitch cables all over it that I was able to do entirely without a cable needle. They were super easy. It is quite cropped. I will put up a video of me walking around wearing it. And it is cropped over my belly button, and I knit the body to twice as long as it called for in the pattern. So if I had followed the pattern, it would have been more like a bralette on me. And I definitely want it to be a top, even if it was going to be a cropped top. So I've worn this several times since. I've worn it a couple times outside of flock. I wore it all day on flock, and I've had no issues with the merino as a summer top. I find it very, very comfortable. I don't get too hot in it at all. I barely notice that I'm wearing it, to be honest. I usually wear it with a top over it. So, you know, some sort of flannel or just overshirt, just because it is a bit more revealing than I usually go for. It's a lot of skin, but I do think it's incredibly flattering. So I really think the shaping on this pattern is really well thought through. Like, I'll see if I can really show off the bust shaping on this. I think it's absolutely beautiful. You knit this by knitting the four triangles first, and then you join together in the round. You knit a little bit straight, and then you do the waist decreases, and then you knit straight after that. It does just have a regular bind off, and I was really worried because the bind off is, you know, it doesn't have stretch. It's quite tight. And when I first did it, I thought I was going to have to rip it out and do it again, which I was frustrated by because, you know, I didn't have a lot of extra time. I needed this done in like a day. So I decided to block it just to see. And when I blocked it, it actually came out perfect. So the little bit of tightness to the bind off actually lets it sit really nice and flat on my waist when I wear it. And it doesn't move at all because of the way the bind off is. So it's perfect. I did go up a couple needle sizes for the bind off. And I am glad that I did, because I think if it was any tighter at all, then it wouldn't work. But this has no extra finishing, so when you're done knitting it, you are done. And it's really cool because basically it has the two cables along the edge of the whole thing make up the finishings. And I think it's a really effective finish. I think it looks really, really nice, really polished. So yeah, this is the Ilana Camisole by Masha Ziablikova. I really, really loved knitting it. I would love to knit another. She actually has a sweater version with this same cable pattern that I think is stunning. I would love to knit. There is one caveat to her patterns, which is that they are very, very not size inclusive. And I did hear from someone that she is trying to change that and trying to work on that now that she's becoming a little bit of a bigger designer. She's not a bigger, like she's still quite a small designer. But this pattern in particular got on like the front page of Ravelry for a while and got a bit of attention. And so I did hear from someone that she is trying to work on that, and I hope that's true because her patterns are stunning and I would love them to be available to everybody. As they are now though, they are quite restricted in their sizing. So I'm not sure that I am willing to pursue her other patterns just yet until I see that size range come up a little bit. And I just really hope it does, because honestly, I love her designs and I would love to knit more of them. So that is my one caveat on this pattern. But yeah, I do, as far as actual pattern goes and the writing of it and the design of it, I think it's fantastic and I would highly recommend it for that. But yeah, that is my Ilana Camisole. Really, really happy with it. I'm continuing to wear it. It's nice. All right. And that is it for finished objects. So with that, I will get on to my whips. So first, let me get a sip of tea. Like I said, I want to be cozy today. Like I just want it to be fall. And so I'm drinking hot tea. I wanted to wear my sweaters. Like I'm just trying to make fall happen. It's okay. It'll be here soon. All right. So my first whip is actually a test knit. It's my first ever test knit, which I'm very excited about. It's been a year of firsts for me. I'm very happy about it. But this is the basic Boatneck tank, or basic Boatneck camisole. I'm blanking on which it technically is. And this is by True Summer Knits. So this is Madison over at True Summer Knits. She also has a YouTube channel, and this is her first design. and I just absolutely loved the fit of it, how simple it was. I liked the gauge she was working with when she was talking about it on her channel, and so I signed up to test knit it. I was very happy to be chosen. But this is it's just a basic boat neck top, as she mentions. The way this is constructed is you cast on for one of the shoulders first, and you knit a little strap, and then you cast on for the other shoulder and you knit a little strap, and then you connect the two of them using backwards loop cast on, and you knit down a nice big rectangle, a nice big panel, until you get to the underarm shaping. Do the underarm shaping, put the stitches on hold. Then you pick up stitches on the shoulder straps for the back panel, cast on this back neck using backwards loop cast on, and then pick up for the other shoulder, knit a big rectangle for the back, do your underarm shaping again, at which point you connect everything in the round. You knit a little bit just straight, and then it gets into the waist shaping. So you can see I'm marking my waist shaping with my stitches. So I'm about halfway through the waist shaping right now. At that point, I ran out of my one of my balls of yarn, which I thought meant it'd be a good time to maybe take a break and do some of the finishing work. So it's finished with I-cord edging all along the armholes, and then it will also be finished along the neckline, but I haven't done that one yet. I do need to redo my armhole. I-cord on the right came out just a little too loose, but I got it to work on the left, and so I just need to rip this one out, copy what I did on this one, and it'll be fine, and then do my neckline one. It's actually my first time doing I-cord edging, and so that was a fun technique to learn. I was very happy with that, and I think I really like the finish of it. And she has a really cool technique to try and give the edge a little bit of stability. Because this neckline really, really wants to roll, the way she has you do it in all the areas where it's rolling is she actually has you, I'm not gonna be able to show this on camera very well, but she has you literally like fold the fabric back on itself and then pick up through the double thick fabric. And so it gives it just a little bit of structure. And once it's blocked and everything and pinned out, it should keep it from rolling as I'm wearing it. And I'm really excited to see how that works. So yeah, overall, I'm really, really happy with this. I'm knitting this with a single strand of Knitting for Olive Merino in the color Dusty Sea Green, which is yarn I had in stash that was left over from my first sweater by Lizzie Hester that I knit earlier this year. It's worked on, True Summer Knits, Madison, she recommends knitting this on a 2.75 millimeter needle, so a US 2. I got way too tight of gauge when I did that personally, and so I sized up to a US 2.5, so a 3 millimeter needle. The gauge is 28 stitches per 4 inches. I'm not sure what the real gauge is, which is a quite tight gauge, and I love the fabric it's giving. It's just so nice and structured, and the stitches are so tiny and clean. Seriously, I love this so much. It's knitting up, for being on such a tight gauge and such small needles, it's knitting up so fast. I cast this on like an hour before I had to drive to the airport for flock, and just knitting throughout flock weekend, knitting and watching movies with my friend, being on the airport, airplanes, being in airports. I think I had it joined in the round and close to being ready for waist shaping by the end of that weekend. And then it's slowed down a little since then, just because I've had other projects that I've been really excited about, and I've been a little distracted. And I'm making myself get back into it now, because I do really want to see this piece finished, and I want to have it ready so I can wear it a few times before the weather changes. And yeah, it'll be great. I just said that though, but I think this will be a really good transitional piece. Like, it's wool. I think it'll look really pretty under jackets and under, layering pieces. I think this is going to be a really, really versatile piece in my wardrobe. And I honestly can already see knitting it in a couple of different colors. Like, I'm really thinking black would be fantastic, and possibly like a really like deep red would look really fantastic. Like, I could see owning this top in several different iterations. And yeah, it's really nice, rhythmic stockinette. It's great. I love this top. I cannot recommend it enough. And honestly, I really excited. Madison has some other, like, if you haven't checked out her channel, you absolutely should. She does a really great podcast as well. And she has another pattern she's working on right now that's like a sleeveless sweater with a high neck that I'm also in love with. Like, I think I might just really, she's new to designing, but from what it looks like I'm really going to be into her designs, and I'm very excited that, you know, I'm getting to test knit the first one. That's really fun. I like it. So yeah, this one's going on great. At the bottom, it should have a folded hem. Some of the testers have been having issues with the folded hem coming out too tight, but I really like the look of it. So I'm going to try some of the adjustments some of them have suggested to get it to be the right tension, and we'll see how it goes. The backup is some of the testers have done the I-cord hem on the bottom, I-cord finishing on the hem at the bottom, and so that is also a possibility as well, but I'd like to try and get the folded hem to work, so we'll see. But yeah, basic boat neck, true summer knits. This should be out in a, you know, sometime this fall. I believe she said it was going to be a free pattern, but I might be wrong about that. So if I've lied on that, I apologize, but I'm pretty sure that was the plan. So, which is, I mean, it's a really well written pattern. That's pretty amazing. So yeah, that one is that's probably my most exciting whip at the moment. All right, next one I will talk about is my Tonight top by Lily Kate France. Sorry, my brain totally blanked on that for a second. So this isn't anything too exciting, but this is technically the entire back panel. I need to get it on scrap yarn and then pick up for the front. So it's totally done with the back panel, all of the underarm shaping and everything. So this is the Tonight top by Lily Kate France. This is being knit on, I have a full skein here. This is some of my flock yarn. So this is my Treehouse Knits Spruce Sock in the colorway You Belong Here. This is from her Riverdale collection, and this is 90% extra fine superwash merino and 10% nylon. And it's this really beautiful, like, bright cream with these really lovely speckles. And the speckles range, they've got some like dark browns, some oranges, some blues, some greens. It's really, really, really pretty. And so, like, the extra fine merino, like, this is so soft. It's amazing. I'm knitting this on US 3 needles, and I am slightly off gauge. So the pattern calls for a gauge of 26 stitches, and I've gotten a gauge of 28 stitches, so a little tighter. But I really, really like the fabric that I'm getting. It's got just the right density to it. It's really nice. And so I did some math, and the way it works out is if I knit the size 3, I will have some negative ease. And this pattern is supposed to have, I think, 1 to 3 inches of positive ease. And I kind of want it to have like 0 to 1 inches of positive ease. Like, I would like this to be quite nicely fitted. And I've seen some people who knit it with 0 ease and it looks really nice. So I'm pretty confident that will work out. And so if I knit the size 3 and I add 6 stitches, it gets me right about where I want to be, which is like 0 to just a little bit of positive ease. And so my plan, and it's what I did on the back panel already, is to knit the size 3, but to add 1 extra increase row for the underarms on the front and the back, which should get me 4 extra stitches, and then to cast on 1 extra stitch under the underarms on both sides. And I think my math should work out. I'm pretty sure that should work out perfectly. But yeah, I'm really excited for this. I think this is just a really classic and like sophisticated looking pattern that's really just going to let the yarn shine. And this yarn needs to shine. This yarn is stunning. So I'm really, really excited about it. I also think yardage wise, I know I'll need pretty much all of the first skein, but I don't think I'll need very much of the second skein. So I might be looking into doing like a hat with the rest of this, or maybe some socks. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be fun. I'm excited to keep playing with this yarn because it is really, really, really pretty. So yeah, that's the Tonight top by Lily Kate France. I don't have a ton extra to say about it yet, just because I'm still pretty early on in the process, but I've really been enjoying knitting on it. And it's a really great project so far for like when I need to be focusing on something else, like, you know, reading or watching TV or any of that stuff. It's just the spruce sock yarn feels so nice in my hands, and it's just, you don't even like notice that you're knitting with it in like a nice way. And yeah, it's just been a joy. I keep wanting to pick it up so much, which is partly why I haven't put it on the scrap yarn yet, is I'm making it inconvenient to pick up so that I will work on my other projects that I need to get done, such as the basic boatneck top. So I'm just letting this one kind of sit for a second until I can get my ducks in a row, and then I am like counting down the days till I can come back to this one because I really, really like it. All right, last but not least, this whip sort of came out of nowhere. I had swatched for it, and I'm pretty sure I showed you guys the swatch, so it's not totally out of nowhere. But just like, I feel like I have so much of a sweater for having never talked about this on the channel as a whip yet. So this is the sweater number 14 V-neck by My Favorite Things Knitwear. This is knit using Noro Rika in the colorway 10, which is yarn that I picked up when I was in Japan. And yeah, I really, really like this sweater so far. The Rika is a mix. I don't know the exact breakdown. I'll put it in the description. But it is a mix of wool, alpaca, and silk. And so it's pretty stiff right now, but I do know that from the gauge swatch, it gets a lot of drape once it blocks. So I know it's going to be a lot drapier. It's definitely very oversized, drop shoulder sweater. It has these really long, almost 5 inches of 2x2 rib on the cuffs, which look a little messy right now, but I'm going to pin them out when I block them. It has this super chunky double folded collar, which is also 2x2 rib. And I will say this collar hurt my hands so bad. This yarn, you knit the collar a couple of needle sizes down, you know, so that the ribbing looks nice and neat. But this yarn has a really intense thick and thin quality to it. So there are a few parts in the collar where you're dealing with some pretty yarn that was quite a bit too thick for the needles I was working with. And yeah, my hands got very fatigued the day that I did the collar. That being said, I really like the effect of it, and I think it was worth it. So, but yeah, it's a basic drop shoulder design. So you just start off by casting off for the back neck. You do some short rows to shape the shoulders and get a nice curve to the shoulders. And then you knit down, increase for the underarms, pick up for the front. You do one side with the neck, you know, shaping for the neck hole and for the underarms. Do the other side, join in the round, you know, kind of your basic drop shoulder construction. You'll notice I stopped on the body and I've got one sleeve done, and I'm getting close to doing the ribbing on the other sleeve. I've got maybe like 10 more rounds before we get there. And the reason I did that is because I'm almost 100% for sure. I say almost, I'm 100% for sure going to run out of yarn, and I would just like to know by how much. So I figured I'd get the sleeves done first, and then I can knit the body, you know, down, kind of see how much more I need. But the reason I say that is I started with 3 balls of this, and I'm down to like the dregs of 2 of the balls, and I still have a good bit of this one, but I have a lot of body left to knit, and there's supposed to be like a good, again, like 5 inches of ribbing on the bottom, and it's got to have a split hem, and it's supposed to just be a very oversized sweater. Like, I don't want to crop this. Like, the sleeves are really long, and the body's got to be long too. Like, for it to be this oversized, like, it just has to be all the way oversized and be very intentional. And so that's why I will probably run out of yarn, but that's okay. It's because of the nature of this color, I'm not worried about, like, you know, color lots or anything like that. Like, I'm pretty sure I can just get a ball of this and it will be fine. And I don't mind doing that because this is special yarn from Japan, and I want to put it in a project that I'm, you know, 100% pleased with and not really compromising on in any way. But yeah, I'm really liking this. Every time I put it on, I just get really excited for it. And I've just been knitting away at this. It's kind of addictive after so many small gauge projects lately. Having something at a bigger gauge that's just like flying off my needles is so satisfying. And yeah, I've been having just a blast working on this, and I can't wait to keep working on it. Like, this is the thing I keep picking up the most. it's I really need to work on the basic boat neck, and I got myself really distracted with all my other cast-ons, so we'll get there. Basic boat neck is what I'm working on tonight, and I think once I get the I-cord done and I like join back on the body, it's gonna start flying again too. I think I just, you know, finishing stuff is just never quite as fun as just like knitting, you know, in the round and doing row after row and all of that. So it's fine. But I want to do the finishings because it's going to look so nice, and I want to see it look like, you know, a real garment kind of a thing. Oh, one thing I want to talk about with this. So, whoop, little yarn avalanche. So I, for the most part, have been letting, because obviously the Noro has a bunch of different colors in it, and you get these really pretty stripes along the pattern, or along the sweater. And for the most part, I've just been letting the yarn do what it wants and not worrying about like managing the colors or anything like that, with one exception. So I picked up for the left shoulder first, and the yarn happened to be on a little bit of a darker color, and it really blended in well with the line of the shoulder, and I liked that look. And so when I came to the next one, and it's why I've used a little bit of all 3 balls of yarn, is because of this one move. But when I came to the next one, if I'd kept using the same ball of yarn, it would have been on like a bright cream color, and it would have been a really sharp line here. And so what I did was I looked at my other 2 balls, and I found the one that was the darkest at the starting point there, and I picked up that one instead, just so that I could keep that same sort of blended look along the shoulder here on both sides. And you'll notice they don't line up perfectly. So like, it's hard for me to see, but like this one has a lot more of the beige, or, you know, the brighter cream than this one does before they join in the round and sort of blend together. But it feels intentional, and it feels, you know, fairly managed. Like, there's no real sharp lines here where it looks like, oh, that's where you changed, you know, yarn, which is what I was hoping for. And yeah, again, really, really happy with it. I think it's going to be a great sweater. I think it's going to be extremely warm. And so the way I picture it is like a lounging around the house sweater, because I'm very lazy about running my heater. And so I tend to just bundle up on the couch and, you know, drink warm coffee and wear a big sweater to deal with the cold in the summer, in the winter. So I think it's going to get a lot of love, and I'm very excited for it. But yeah, that is all the knitting that I have to talk about today. I don't have any acquisitions because I talked about all of them in my last episode where I went through my flock acquisitions. I've been good and haven't bought anything since then. So no acquisitions, no future plans just yet, because I have too many plans going on as it is. I need to finish some of these before I start thinking about future plans. And then, yeah, this is basically just a lot of knitting in my future. If you're just here for the knitting, that is all I have for you. But I do have one kind of fun life update if you want to stick around. Basically, so last week, I actually ended up quitting my job. It's something that, it's not like a shock. I've had this in the plans all summer. But last Friday, or, you know, like not last Friday, the Friday before was my very last day at work. I've worked at that job for 9 years, so this is a pretty big deal for me to be stepping away from it. But I was just ready for something new in my life. I've worked there ever since I graduated from college. And I actually am going back to school to get my master's in library sciences, which, for those of you who don't know, I have a degree in physics, with a minor in mathematics. I was working for an engineering and manufacturing company running their clean room, which, you know, it's like a lot of like chemistry work and like equipment maintenance and stuff like that. It's really interesting work. But I just felt like I needed a change, and I felt like I needed a new path, and I have always loved reading and libraries and all of that, and I found this program and it was just perfect, and I applied, got in, and yeah, that's been the transition that we're doing. So it is a online program completely. It's through San Jose State. And so basically I'm going to be home a lot more, hanging out with my pups, doing schoolwork. I mean, I'm going to be totally busy. This program is pretty involved and it is a lot of work, but it's work I'm really excited about and I feel really passionate about. So I don't think it's going to feel too terrible. But I've already noticed that listening to lectures or doing the readings and any of that stuff, I focus so much better if I'm knitting. So I think what's going to happen, the reason I'm bringing it up in the podcast, is you're probably going to see a lot more plain stock knit projects from me. That's probably going to be the priority because that's what I'm able to do while, you know, focusing on lectures and focusing on readings. And yeah, I'm kind of interested to see what this does for like my knitting speed. Not that I'm ever trying to like, you know, crank out knit faster and faster and all that, but it is just interesting to see how it fluctuates in different periods of your life. So that's going to be interesting to see for sure. The other thing that it should do is I'm hoping it'll help me get on a more regular schedule with this podcast. I had a really hard time getting out my weekly episodes over the summer, especially because I knew I was leaving my job. Work got a lot busier over the summer and I just was sort of stressed out and tired, and the podcast took a little bit of a backseat for a bit. But yeah, I'm kind of hoping now that I'm going to be home more often, it'll be easier to find times to film and just fit it in throughout the week and hopefully start getting you guys, you know, weekly. Sorry, I've been talking too long now. My tongue's getting a little tongue-tied. Probably time to wrap it up, but I'm looking forward to getting you guys more regular episodes on a more regular schedule, and it should be a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to that. So that is my little life update for you guys. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. This has been a ton of fun. I am glad to get back to, you know, filming the updates. 3 weeks is a little too long. I had so much knitting to talk about. But I'm always excited to talk about knitting, so it's fine. But yeah, this is so much fun. Thank you for spending your time with me. I hope you got some knitting in or crochet or whatever you are working on. And yeah, looking forward to catching up with you guys again soon. Leave me a comment down below on what you are working on so that way we can, you know, be in a little knitting group together as we work on all our projects together. I'd love to hear from you guys. And I will catch you next time. All right. Bye.